So today we're going to talk a little bit about what to do when looking for a job in the field of architecture visualization. Even more specifically, we're going to talk about what to do when trying to land your dream job in the architecture visualization office that you really want to work for. Hi guys, Fabio Palvelli here. I'm a designer, and every week on this channel I share a little bit of my life on video, as well as tips and tricks on how to be a better designer, a better visualizer. So if this is your first time here, please do consider subscribing. Now, before we get into this, do understand that qualities such as consistency, perseverance, being humble, as well as trying to work smart as much as possible, all play a big role when it comes to a successful career in this creative industry. Also, getting a job in your dream office is more often than not very similar to winning the lottery. And that's because there might be times that you will be looking for a job whilst the companies that you're trying to target might be at full capacity, or vice versa. Rejection is just as important as success when working as a creative. The more rejection you will get, the more you will learn from them, the more you will push yourself to improve your craft, not to mention that this will forge you to become a better, more creative, more skilled person. Understand that, especially when you're a beginner, these offices might not be interested in you, because usually these high-end places look for people with experience that are able to both work on their own and in teams. So if you do not have these requirements, then maybe you should be looking for an internship first, or at least try to build your skills whilst working in an architecture office first, making images in-house, for instance. Now, I have some tips that can really help you landing the job that you want in the company that you want. These are tips that work and that are used also in other fields other than the architectural visualization one. Graphic designers, movie makers, even lawyers use these techniques to get the jobs that they want. So open your ears and let's get into listening mode. Make the type of work that the companies you want to work for make. This is by far the best strategy to target a firm and ask them for a job. Now, it is important to understand that it is not enough to simply make the same work. Don't just copy the work of that company. That's not how it works. Like, if you want to work for Mir, just copying the images and putting fog in front of every building is not going to get you there. You need to research the company. You need to understand their core values, understand their process, study them. What is that they do that makes them different from others? What is that you can incorporate in your work so that it will make them want to hire you? What are the key aspects of the work that they produce? What are the tools that they use? Now, often tools are not considered important in such offices. The really good companies, they focus on the end product, the stuff that you can actually make. They often don't care how you made it. So if you are a cinema 4D user and they use Max or Modo instead, it will not necessarily be a deal breaker. At the same time though, having a knowledge of their pipeline is always beneficial, because it means that they will not waste too much time training you so that you can be 100% operational. Another tip that I have for you is move, if possible, to the place where the company you want to work for is located. Now, if you want to work for a company in England and you're based in Spain, often, even if you're a great candidate, a company will not hire you from far away, simply because it is a risk for them to take, and it's also a risk for you to take. What if after 2 months you do not like living in that city? What if you do not like working for them and then you decide to change job? The process of hiring you, especially if there is a visa procedure in the middle, it just adds layers of complication that companies often cannot and do not want to deal with. Also, very often when a company is looking for somebody, they're looking for somebody now. They're not looking for somebody in the next 2 or 3 months. There are of course a lot of exceptions, but generally speaking, if you want to hack the system, you gotta move to their city. At this point, some of you might say, well, I don't really have the money to go there and live there and wait for them to give me a job. And my response to this is that if this is really your dream to work for this specific firm, get a job as a waiter in a restaurant just for a few months. Just do something to make ends meet. Be proactive about it. Use the time that you work in a restaurant to work on your portfolio. As long as you are economically independent, you can make it happen for yourself. And if you think that companies are going to discriminate because you worked in a bar meanwhile, this is absolutely incorrect. If you instead feel bad about getting a job in a bar because you think that you should be working as an artist, please listen to me. The end goal is more important, or at least should be more important. You have no idea how many times I get messages from guys that cannot find a job and have to leave a city because they cannot afford to stay there. And when I suggest them to get a job somewhere else, just, to make it until the end of the month, the answer that I get is often the same. I have a degree in architecture, I'm not going to work in a restaurant. Do not let your ego kill your plans. Do not let that sense of entitlement take over your life. The reason you cannot get a job is that you're not special. If you were special, you and I would not be having this conversation in the first place. And please don't get offended by this, it's just the reality. Be humble. This is the main quality any creative should have. Now, if you do decide to move to a city to land a job in an office that you love, try to find a city that offers some sort of alternatives. If you were to move to Bergen in Norway to work for Mir, that would be a lot more complicated than moving to London to work for D-Box, for instance. Because even if you fail to get a job at D-Box, in London there are many chances for you to get other jobs. Just be practical about it. If you do get a job at D-Box but your plan is to really work at Mir, 3-4 years of experience at D-Box will really help your curriculum when it comes to applying for a job at Mir. So again, be practical. Always be practical, be logical about everything. The last tip that I have is keep an eye on the social media of the company that you want to work for. See what these guys are up to. Very often companies get invited to events, meetups, conferences, and they use these occasions also as an excuse to find new talents, to work for them. So do not get lazy. Sitting on your butt, just writing emails is relatively easy, believe me. Be more proactive instead. If you hear of, say, Beauty and the Beat that are going to speak at a conference, save up some money and buy a ticket to that conference. Prepare your portfolio, clean up your act, play sharp, and when you meet these guys in person, be generous. Offer them a beer or a cigarette and ask them to look at your portfolio. Ask them about vacancies. Ask them about the hiring process. In any case, try to make friends and build a connection, even if they were not to offer you a job on the spot. By meeting them in person and talking to them, you can still build a better relationship with them, and you will get access to more information for you to prepare yourself and improve your chance to get hired by them in the future. Anyway, I would be curious to know, what is your strategy when looking for a new job? Have you done something in the past that has helped you getting hired by somebody that you really wanted to work for? Leave a comment. I'm open to discussion. Let me know. This is all I wanted to share with you today. Okay, have a great one. Cheers.